Cancer was in both sides of my neck, both sides of my chest, under my diaphragm and in my left lung. And the tumour in my chest was about 30 centimetres. Yeah. I was so run down that I could barely get out of bed. I dropped loads of weight. I was so exhausted. I had what I thought was a really bad bout of flu, this obviously crazy itching. And I was in bed for like 2 weeks. And when I started to feel better, I was like, oh, great. You know, I'm over the worst of it. And I found a really big lump in my neck. I had all my scans and all my tests, and I got called on a Thursday because I was meant to be seeing my doctor on the Friday, and he said, are you sitting down? And I was like, yes. Why? And he was like, we'd never usually do this over the phone, but you've got stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma and you need to come to the hospital today to start medication because you're in chemo tomorrow. And it was like I mean, I don't have the words for the feeling. It was like I'd been hit by a bus. When I was diagnosed, the cancer was in both sides of my neck, both sides of my chest, under my diaphragm and in my left lung. And the tumour in my chest was about 30 centimetres. So I couldn't actually get a full breath in. And they said, like, if you'd come here like a week or two later, we wouldn't have been able to treat you. And I was like, sorry, I thought I had a cold. Like, what? But I was super positive throughout the whole thing. I really stuck my positive pants on. I was like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to have fun. Like, I need to get to the end of my treatment and I'm going to be fine. But it wasn't until I relapsed that my mental health took a really big turn. And I struggled a lot. So I got into remission and had a few months thinking the world was going to go back to normal. Started getting like little sproutlings out of my little potato head. And it was at my 3-month checkup scan that they told me I'd relapsed. And it was like another time. I just wasn't prepared for that information. I was always told, you're going to be treated, you're going to get better, and then you're going to go on with your life. Like, it's a year of your life and you'll be done. So when I relapsed, it was the positive element of me definitely disappeared with the first one. In the first diagnosis, I would want friends coming with me to chemo, and we'd have little chemo parties, and even though you'd feel rotten, it was really nice to just try and make a day out of it. When I was diagnosed the second time, I didn't want anyone to come with me. I really sunk into myself. I was just a shell of who I was. And I saw this, the light at the end of my cancer tunnel was my life and the fun I was going to have. So when I relapsed, that was just taken away. And it was, right, well, you're now going to be really unwell for another huge chunk of time. And it's hard. I think, unfortunately, when you go through a cancer diagnosis, your mental health will be affected. And it's safe to say, I can say that for everyone. It's usually, for a lot of people who are lucky enough to, is when you come out the other side of treatment, because you're so focused on your doctor's appointments, your scans, your chemo, your side effects, everything is you're encompassed into this cancer ball. And it's when you're out of it that all of a sudden it just rains down on you, and you have to, obviously we all, I think, try to fight that negative feeling, and we all try and be like, no, I'm fine, but you've got to feel it, and you've got to let it in, and you've got to ask for help. I think at different stages I would have said that different things were difficult. Losing my hair was a big struggle. I always said to myself, at the minute it falls out, I'm just going to shave it off, and I couldn't. I went to the hairdresser, and my hairline had receded 3 inches. I had barely any hair, but I just couldn't shave my head. It was awful. So that was really hard. And then obviously losing it the second time was devastating. But now I think if I think of what my most difficult thing about treatment now would be the things I'm left with post treatment. Things like a poor mental health, having a lot of health issues, and dealing with being told you're infertile. Because before I got sick, I never really thought about it. Like, I knew at some point in my life I'd have kids, or thought I would, but it wasn't at the forefront of my head. I wasn't in that place. And it's really funny that now it's the only thing I can think about. It's like, it's hard, but I always go to say, like, at least I'm cancer free, and at least I'm healthy, and I'm lucky enough that it didn't, take me and all this sort of stuff. But it's not, I think it's just, I don't know, it just knocks you for six a little bit when you're not expecting it. But yeah. A lot of chocolate. I don't. Sorry. In all honesty, I don't know if I am coping with it yet. I know I will, and I see, friends and family who get pregnant and have babies, and I think it is just the most wonderful thing. And being around that makes me so happy, because it fills like my insides with so much joy and so much happiness to see it. But it's one of those things, I think, when you're by yourself, that's when it hits. I think I just need to get through that constant, like, I don't even, because I was going to say that constant envy, but it's not even that. It's just like a hurt. It's like an internal thing. It's I want that. Like, I want to grow a little sprogling somewhere. I think if you've been brought up with someone who's had breast cancer, you're obviously more aware of it. But ironically, now that I've had cancer, I have to really push myself to check, because you get this, and it's also for people who haven't had cancer, you get this like internal fear of, oh my God, what if I find something? But it's the finding it that's important. So even if you are a bit scared, just check it, because the earlier you check these things, if there is anything, you can get it checked out at the doctor. Chances are it's nothing, but you don't want to leave it late, because like that age-old saying, early detection saves lives, and that is like seriously the most true sentiment. I don't know if it's necessarily a specific time, but something that I think just gets me every time that it happens is if I'm sharing some reminders on social media, or if I'm sharing my experience with cancer on social media, or saying, guys, you need to look out for lumps, bumps, changes, anything, and having someone message me saying, because of that post you put up, I got checked and found a lump, or I went to the doctor because I saw you talking about it. And that is, personally, for me, that is like what I equate legendary status to. No, I think it's just a really special thing that if you can just make someone more aware of themselves because of something that you've said or something that you've done, I think that's probably where I'm like most proud.